Golden hour? Never heard of her. Because apparently weddings only happen during the brightest, most unflattering part of the day. Most wedding photos aren't at sunset. They happen when the sun is directly overhead and everybody's squinting. But here's how to make those shots not just work, but actually look good. What's up? My name is Lublang, wedding photographer and photo video educator. So whether you're brand new to weddings or you've already been baptized by the fire, and by that, I mean a July wedding at 2 p.m. in a parking lot, keep watching. These tips are going to save your butt and your highlights. So first of all, let's talk about why at weddings, most of the time our pictures are happening during the most unflattering part of the day. Whether it's our traditional ceremony where we have a church ceremony right in the middle of the day and the pictures are happening usually directly before or after because the ceremony doesn't usually happen anywhere near the reception. And receptions, they're usually at nighttime for the most part. And we have to deal with pictures during that time when the lighting is just bad. It's terrible, it's directly overhead, and we have to make it look good. Just like all those pictures they saw on Pinterest that are all done in stylized shoots at the perfect time with the best ideal lighting conditions. Yeah, we have to make our pictures look like that. We don't get to choose the lighting. We don't get to choose the location. But we still have to make it work. Because let's be honest, most weddings are going to prioritize a timeline over lighting conditions. Most couples are not planning a wedding thinking about what type of lighting their pictures are going to happen in. It's just the nature of the beast. And as a wedding photographer, you don't control the timeline. You just adapt to it. So here are 7 tips to help get you prepared for working in the less than ideal lighting conditions. And stick around to the end when I give you a tip that is going to help you get ready before you even arrive on location. First and foremost, we're going to look for open shade. What is open shade? It's shade where we have some space. I'm not talking about a shadow that is casted by a person. Think more along the lines of a tall building or a tree or something that you can put your couple or whatever picture you are trying to set up underneath that shade to give them more flattering lighting, opposed to that direct, harsh sunlight. The benefit here is you're going to have good lighting that's pretty even. You might even have a little bit of bounce fill from maybe sand or a concrete sidewalk or a building nearby or some windows, which helps make your picture even better. You might have some directional lighting where the sun is coming in really strong to that area. Even though it's shaded, you're still going to have a hotter spot and then a little bit more shadow side to your subject. So you do have a little bit of contrast in the face. And it's just going to look good with minimal effort. And probably one of the best parts about it is you're really going to reduce the amount of squinting that your subject does. Because we don't look good like this in pictures. No, we want to show the person's eyes. We want to show who they are as a person because so much of a picture is told through the person's eyes. So we want to make sure we see them, right? And a little tip here, because we are dealing with bright, harsh sunlight and we're dealing with open shade, there's going to be a drastic difference between exposure values of underneath that shade and a bright background. So if you are dealing with a bright background, maybe try shooting a little bit tighter or changing your angle so you don't have that drastic difference, which will often result in blown out backgrounds if you have a properly exposed subject, or you're going to have a darker subject if you're still going to try and retain that background value, depending on how sunny it is. Number 2, if you cannot find open shade, try and place the subject with the sun behind them. When they're not looking directly into the sunlight, again, we are avoiding that terrible squinting, which really helps with our picture. We're going to have the sun behind the person. Yeah, we might blow out some of the flyaway hairs around people's heads, or sometimes the edge of a veil or a white wedding dress might get a little blown out. So you got to be careful. Definitely pay attention to your highlights and make sure that we're still retaining that detail, because even though it is trendy among some amateur photographers to just completely blow out the details in wedding dresses, I think from a really deep personal perspective on this, I cannot stand it when a photographer blows out the details of a wedding dress. Do you know how important that dress is to that bride? It is probably one of the biggest details on her wedding day, and you are going to make it look like a white sheet of paper. Most brides won't be happy with that. Be careful. In this situation with a backlit, you're going to have to expose for the faces. We want to see the people. The people's faces are definitely going to be more important here than the background. So we might have those clipped highlights in the background, and that's just something we're going to have to live with. If we can avoid it by any means possible, by maybe changing your position and putting something else in the background that's maybe not completely blown out, might make the picture a little bit more interesting. Or maybe you're going for that super contrasty image, and that's okay too. But make sure that we're still retaining detail in our faces and in our wedding dress. And if the sun's really low in the horizon, you can even use the couple to block the sun to minimize any flaring that you may not want in the image. Sometimes you do want to use it, and that is an artistic choice, but sometimes it doesn't look great. So to help minimize that, either put the couple in between you and the sun, or make sure that you're using a lens hood. I know for some reason a lot of wedding photographers love to shoot with their lens hood on backwards. I don't get it. I personally always use a lens hood because I have saved multiple lenses from breaking by just using a lens hood, and that's just from walking around with a lens or somebody bumping into it. Well, it also has another use. It helps with lens flare. So go ahead, flip that lens hood around and use that $20 piece of plastic as it was intended. Do me a favor before we go any further. If you've ever been a person that shot with their lens hood on backwards like this, because maybe you didn't know exactly what it was for, drop a like down below. Go ahead. It's anonymous. Nobody knows who liked the video, but I'm just curious to see how many people have done this. Next up on the list is to use the harsh light creatively. Lean into the harsh lighting that you are given, because maybe we can come out of it with something really interesting. Sometimes couples really like that contrasty look to pictures. Sure, if you're a photographer who only shoots at golden hour and all your images are light and soft and airy and nothing is contrasty, maybe on somebody's wedding day isn't the time to just decide, hey, I'm a contrasty photographer now. You might want to just slowly work that in there. But for 1, 2, 10 pictures, maybe it doesn't hurt, and it could help expand your portfolio and really show you something that you had maybe never even thought of before. Look for shadows, look for highlights, make sure you're still intentional about what you're doing. Don't just make some really stark, creepy, contrasty image of a beautifully posed bride, because it may not be what she was looking for when she hired you. So just be careful, but could be a good opportunity to get some cool images. With harsh lighting is also a really good time to show off textures. So if a bride's dress does have some really cool textures going on, maybe you want to take a close-up of the flowers or details of the groom. A lot of times the guys can handle that harsher lighting a little bit better than the brides can, just from the way the world works, okay? Like, historically, you photograph women with a little bit softer light, you photograph men with a little bit harsher light. Sure, times are changing, people are breaking all the rules, but that's kind of what has always been thought as normal through the history of photography. Well, we have a rule on this channel. Whenever we have a visitor, he's got to make a guest appearance. Yeah, my 70-pound golden retriever puppy is still a lapdog, apparently. Puppies. Oh, can't eat the DJI mic. Please stop eating the microphone. We can't get any new ones. If you eat the microphone, then we'll not be able to record any YouTube videos. It's made in China. They're listening to us all the time. They're spying on us with our drones. Don't you know that? That's why we can't buy the stuff anymore. So we're gonna do the whole YouTube video with you sitting right here like this. Or are you gonna go back to sleep? Say goodbye to YouTube. Like and subscribe to my dad's channel. Woof. And what's really cool about this harsh lighting is a great opportunity to utilize black and white images, because when you have really contrasty images in black and white, it almost looks a little bit more normal. People almost expect black and white images to have a little bit more contrast than a full color picture. So here might be a great opportunity to explore some black and white images if you feel like it fits the vibe and the whole feeling of the wedding day. If you've ever been in a situation where just making a picture black and white has saved your butt, drop a comment down below, because it's happened to all of us. And listen, sometimes it can be a really good crutch, but sometimes it's the easy way out. Let's share some stories. Come on, tell me down below. Have you taken a picture and just made it black and white and said, that fixed all my problems? Whether it was from harsh lighting, terrible white balance, or just a bad, uninteresting picture, but black and white somehow made it a little bit better. Tell me down below. Number 4 on our list is going to be use a reflector. You know, one of these things that pop open. They have silver, they have gold, they have white. You can take this cover off and you can shoot through it and have some light be diffused like it's a big softbox. This is a 5-in-1 reflector. I think this is a 36-inch one. It was like 20 bucks on Amazon. I'll drop a link down below if you're interested in picking one up for yourself. But I always carry 3 of these with me to every wedding in multiple different sizes, just in case I ever need a nice little bounce to help fill in some of those shadows. The white is great for just naturally reflecting the light that is available back into your subject. The silver will add a little bit more specular highlight. The gold is really good if you're ever shooting porn. Sorry, I was taught that when I was in college by one of my professors that the gold side of a reflector is called the porno reflector, and that has just stuck with me for the last 10 years. Oh well. And what's really cool about reflectors is if you need help with one of these, it's super easy to just say, hey, I'm gonna grab one of the bridesmaids. Would you mind holding this right here like this? It's gonna help out the couple make their picture look better. They have no problem with it. This thing weighs like a pound. Like, it's super light and easy to use. So great, cheap, inexpensive tool to have in your bag at all times whenever you're shooting in harsh lighting. But most importantly, make sure you know how to close it. You don't want to be struggling with one of these in front of an entire wedding party because you will embarrass yourself. I promise you. Next on our list might scare some of you natural light photographers, but you should probably learn how to use a flash even as a natural light photographer. I said it. You need to use a flash. Oh my God. It's not that scary. I don't know why so many people are afraid of putting a flash on their camera, especially outdoors. You have no ceiling to bounce it off of and no white walls. What will you do? The picture's gonna look terrible. Relax. It's not meant to light up the whole scene. A flash outdoors in harsh light is only meant to be used to help lower our contrast on our subject. Because we don't want those deep, dark, harsh shadows, we can use a direct flash at a low power setting to help lift those shadows a little bit, just to help lower the contrast of the picture. When the sun is directly overhead and we have deep raccoon eyes on our subject where the eyes are really dark, we can use the flash to help light that up. When we have the subject out in that open shade and there's really no direction to the light, we can use that flash to help add a little bit of contrast to the scene if it's just way too flat. Or maybe when we have that subject backlit, when we have the sun coming in from behind them and we want to help balance out the light coming from behind them with the light that's available in front of them, we can throw a little bit of light into their face to help bring up those highlights a little bit to match that background so we don't have to blow it out as much. Personally, I love to use it off camera, up higher, pointing down at our subject to kind of mimic what natural light outdoors looks like. Because most of the time, light outdoors doesn't come at eye level of where I'm holding my camera if the light was directly on top of the camera pointing at the couple. My idea here is to still make it look natural whilst being able to see more of what our eyes can see and help our cameras out a little bit because they're limited by the dynamic range that they have. I keep it super simple too. All I'm doing is sometimes just using a bare flash, sometimes an umbrella, sometimes a small softbox to help soften that light up just a little bit to kind of match what type of light I'm given with. If we're talking about bright bluebird skies with not a cloud in sight and it's super harsh and sunny, well, maybe I want to give them a little bit of soft light. Maybe I'm going to shoot through my reflector. Maybe I'm going to try just using a bare bulb flash to see what works best for that couple in that scenario. And if you want to get really crazy, because all you want to do is shoot at f1.8 or 2.0, because anything above that, you might see the background and people will know that you're not a good photographer. It's okay. Flashes have this magical setting called high-speed sync, which will allow you to shoot at higher shutter speeds so you can go ahead and drop your aperture and not actually have to worry about anything more than 3 feet behind the couple. I got you. If you don't know anything about high-speed sync, look it up. Depending on your flash, it could be easy or it could be a little bit more difficult. But check it out, depending on what flash you use. Because we're going to get a flash now, right? If we don't have one, we're going to get one. No, you're not. Next up on my list is going to be just know your camera settings and your gear. Using a lens hood at all times when you're outdoor is really going to help minimize that flare and just that unwanted softness to a picture that comes with the light coming directly into our lens. We're going to keep our ISO nice and low. We're going to keep our shutter speed nice and high unless we're using flash. But if we're using high speed sync, we can still keep those shutter speeds nice and high, right? Yeah. And we'll get good exposure in our picture still without blowing anything out. Yeah. All right, we're going somewhere. If you have your ISO at 50 or 100 and your shutter speed is at 1/8000, but you still got to shoot at f8 and you hate that because then people are going to see your background, maybe check out an ND filter. You can throw one of those on front of your lens and it'll allow you to lower your f-stop so you can continue shooting at 1.4. And probably the most important, if we're not doing it already, we want to make sure we're shooting in RAW, because RAW is going to allow us to retain the most amount of detail from our camera's sensor as possible. When we shoot in JPEG, those settings are getting baked in and we really don't have much flexibility in post-production. But when we shoot in RAW, it allows us to lift up those shadows a little bit and lower down those highlights a little bit to allow us to see more of what's going on and not lose that either in the deep shadows and crush them or blow out any highlights. And the last section here is going to be scout your location ahead of time. And the little bonus is there are apps that allow you to do this from the comfort of your own home. So why are you not doing it? Apps such as Sunseeker do a great job of showing you where that sun is going to be in the sky any given day at any given time. So you can prepare your shots from the comfort of your own home if you wanted to. Or another app that's very popular amongst landscape photographers, especially astrophotographers, is going to be one called Photo Pills. Now this one's not free, but it's like $10. And honestly, it's really, really good for what you're getting for $10. And if you're somebody who's ever worried about the position of the sun on any given day, or the moon for that fact, great app to have on your phone, because it gives you a ton of information that could be very useful for just planning ahead, giving yourself some peace of mind before you even arrive on location. And when you're doing all this pre-planning and scouting ahead of time, you have the ability to go to your couple and maybe suggest something a little bit different if what they picked wasn't an ideal spot for those pictures at that time. Maybe they want to be at one part of the beach and you say, hey, you know what? If we go to this part of the beach, the lighting's going to be much better. You're going to be much happier with your pictures. That's an easy fix to change ahead of time. But on the day of, if everybody gets out of the shuttle bus and they're standing there on the boardwalk at the beach and you're just there scratching your head wondering, how the hell am I going to make this work? This lighting is awful. Well, then it's a lot harder to make that last second switch. And being prepared ahead of time is going to allow us just a much more relaxed, peaceful wedding day when we know that we are putting our couple in the best possible situation with the best possible lighting for that time that they have given us. Listen, harsh lighting doesn't have to ruin your photos. With a few tricks, a little bit of planning, and a creative eye can turn the harshest of lighting into beautiful images. If you found anything in this video helpful, I would love it if you could just do me a favor, subscribe to this channel, drop a like, and I will continue bringing you more useful information just like this. And until next time, peace.